Hello, everyone. X-Wall Kill Bethelite here. And what happens when you mix mental illness in the leadership of a cult? Well, Heaven's Gate. Heaven's Gate is what happens. Jonestown. Jim Jones is what happens. HBO Max has got a 4-part series on Heaven's Gate. It goes into detail. That cult, the cult that went and committed suicide, right? They've got a whole series on that cult. Now, I know you probably have seen videos on YouTube about that. I'm sure everyone here is somewhat familiar with Heaven's Gate as a cult. We all are. Once you become a part of a cult, the Jehovah's Witness cult, one way that you know you're in a cult is the practices and tactics of every other cult becomes very familiar to you. So all the other cults are distant cousins. You know what I mean? So one of the Jehovah's Witnesses, distant cousins. The Heaven's Gate cult, they've got a series on HBO Max. I watched it, and what really, in my opinion, led to the mass suicide of the Heaven's Gate cult is something that could easily happen with Jehovah's Witnesses, right? You just watch the video. Marshall Applewhite, the guy that looks just like Stephen Lett, with his eyes bulging out of his head, looking all crazy as he talks. The guy is the spitting image of Stephen Lett. How much closer of a resemblance can you get, right? And this guy was influenced by someone, all right? There was a woman in that cult. They called each other T and Doe or something that to us sounds insane, but the people in the cult, they didn't find anything wrong with it, right? So the female member of the cult, his companion, was influencing him. Now, it may look to all of us that there's something wrong with Marshall White. You know what I mean? Eyes bulging out of his head while he's talking all kinds of religious jargon. But you got to understand that mental illness can easily be disguised as religion. Someone jabbering off about children, babies being enemies of God. That sort of thing can just be disguised as, hey, that's religion, right? It's okay. It's religion. No, the person is obviously mentally insane. Obviously mentally butter done slipped off the biscuit insane, right? So Marshall Applewhite, the leader of Heaven's Gate, I'm trying to express just how easy it is for Heaven's Gate to happen in Jehovah's Witnesses, right? For Jonestown to happen in Jehovah's Witnesses, right? Because we see the commonality from one cult to the other. If you're a Jehovah's Witness, most likely if you spend time around Mormons, you're going to notice some similarities, right? If you're a Jehovah's Witness, if you spend time with the World Mission Society Church of God, most likely you're going to notice a whole lot of similarities, right? These cults are similar. That's the reason why you notice that. So whenever you have something happen, like for example, when the school shootings happen, people become concerned, right? You know, it's not that far-fetched that could happen at another school. And that's exactly what happened. Schools are somewhat similar. The same is true with religion, especially cults. Cults in particular, they're similar. If something happens in one cult, it is very possible it could happen in another cult, right? So with Major Applewhite, the leader of the Heaven's Gate cult, the guy that talks eyes all wide like this, just like Stephen Lett, I kid you not, they got the same genes or something is going on there. Well, his companion, the female member, leadership of that cult, died, right? She dies of cancer. Now, this ain't supposed to happen because they're supposed to be coming closer and closer to perfection, like physically, not in some other life, but now, according to the Heaven's Gate cult, you can obtain that type of perfection now, and it's supposed to change your body and everything. Well, a member of the cult that's in the leadership role gets cancer. How do you explain that, right? This affects Major Applewhite. You can tell in the series on HBO. This affects him in a major way. He becomes mentally unbalanced. He becomes mentally, he's got issues from that. Right now, what happens when a cult leader becomes mentally unstable? Either because they were always mentally unstable or something happened in their life that caused it. What happened was Major Applewhite decides, hey, we're going to start castrating people, right? That makes perfect sense. Because with cults, castration, it's not that much different from what they already believe in regards to their extreme fear or extreme teachings in regards to sex. Jehovah's Witnesses are similar. They have extreme teachings in regards to sex. If a person does have sex with their boyfriend or girlfriend and they're not married, they do the most extreme things possible, which is to try to break them up from their family, break them up from their friends, break them up for their entire social network, irregardless of what might happen to that person once they've been separated from family and friends and their social network, right? They're already on the verge or already over the top insane with regards to sex. So for Major Applewhite, after he lost someone that was close to him in death, he went over the edge and started teaching castration. Well, if we castrate, people won't even have those urges to want to have sex. And does the membership of the cult say, hey, this sounds insane. Maybe this person needs help. Maybe someone else should take over leadership. Maybe we ought to leave this cult because this guy sounds insane talking about castration. No, the membership of a cult typically will go along with whatever the cult leader is teaching because their teachings are already on the verge of insanity. It's not that far from where they already are once they go over the edge of insanity, right? The castration teaching wasn't that much further from all the insanity they were already teaching. So the cult members, they just go along with it. They decide to have one person go first. Well, that person goes first. I think they have a nurse or someone like that do the castration. They end up cutting this person open. Believe it or not, they end up cutting the person open and castrating them, taking their ball sacks or whatever the case may be. And I got to take a drink after saying that. uh, the person then begins to experience a lot of pain. Now, a child would know. A child would know if you cut open somebody's penis and start taking stuff out, this probably is not gonna feel good. They might be in some pain. Well, that cult was on a level of insanity. You had so much mental illness, and cults, but not all religions, specifically cults, completely disguise mental illness because crazy is their norm. Crazy is their teachings. Crazy is their religion. So crazy in their religion fits in with everything else. And the crazy in their religion cut somebody's penis open, took their testicles out, and thought everything was going to be okay after that. No, this person is yelling and moaning and in pain and laid out. And this is somehow a surprise to them. So Marshall Applewhite then, according to the documentary, according to witnesses, once he saw the effect of his decision on this person, says himself, I'm telling you, Marshall Applewhite said himself, the leader of the cult, you guys need to call the cops. I need to be stopped. This is crazy. I'm paraphrasing. He's telling them, I went too far. This is crazy. Y'all need to call the cops. I'm not stable. I need help. I need somebody to stop me. The cult leader actually says this. And the members of the cult do what the cult membership always do. The same thing they do in other cults. They just make excuses. Oh, Stephen he didn't mean it when he said that babies are enemies of God. He meant it some other spiritual way, you know. Tony Morris, he doesn't have an alcohol problem. He was buying alcohol. He was buying up the liquor store, and he was doing it for someone else, right? At the Australian Royal Commission, where a governing body member actually had to appear to explain himself, and he flat out says it'd be presumptuous for him to say that they were the only true religion. You know, he apostates made him say it. You know, it's just he was under pressure, and he's in front of governments. Well, maybe it's theocratic warfare. Like, they have a zillion excuses for everything. You are in a very dangerous situation with a cult because there's no one stopping the cult leader from going over the top. And once they go over the top, they can clearly express that they're crazy, but nobody in the group is going to pick up on it. That is extremely dangerous. Not only are they going to not pick up on it, they're just going to make excuses for everything that they do. This is the case with Jehovah's Witnesses. This is the case with the FLDS. This is the case with the World Mission Society Church of God. This is the case with the Mormons. When you look at all the racism with regards to that religion when it started, right? 1978 somewhere was when they first started letting black people come to their temples and whatnot. Like, anything that a cult does is excused by the membership, right? And the way that the authorities work is typically they have to be alarmed about something. Typically somebody's got to call them and say, hey, this guy's nuts. He's leading all these people. They're following anything that he tells them to do. We need to stop him. Otherwise something bad's going to happen. That don't happen with cults. There's no one there to say, hey, stop the ride, let me off, this is crazy. So typically, a few members will leave, but they'll just let the train go off the rails, you know what I mean, with everybody else. And that's what happened. So you have a few Heaven's Gate members who are alive. Why? Because they freaking left. You know, they jumped off the train before it went off the rails. They may still believe in it, but that's probably the reason why they're alive and in the documentary on HBO Max. So after Major Applewhite says, hey, I'm crazy, call the cops. I'm doing too much. I can see it now. He wakes up. Major Applewhite wakes up from the cult and asks for help. The cult members don't give him it. They don't call the police. They make up excuses. They just decide, well, hey, instead of just having a nurse do it, let's find a doctor at a hospital and let's continue to pursue this whole, we want to cut our penises and vaginages off, right? So the concept that they're special, that they're the only ones that have this knowledge, that everyone else is lost. They wanted to hold on to that even after they saw our leadership is gone. He's lost his marbles. His marbles are gone. We still want to hold on to our belief because it makes us feel special. That is a drug. There's no difference between the effect a cult has on its membership and crack cocaine and methamphetamines and all these other drugs where these people feel this euphoria, where they feel so special and on top of the world, and they don't want to let that go. They'll do anything for that drug. So that cult, just like Jehovah's Witnesses, made excuses after excuses after excuses for their leadership. Excuse me. They just made all kinds of excuses for their leadership. Didn't matter what they did. Don't matter what they teach. That's wrong. They just another excuse. They just make up excuses. Same with Jehovah's Witnesses. Generation of 1914 will not pass away is what they taught for the longest time. Then when they just changed it up with some crazy overlapping generations teaching, the whole organization of Jehovah, they just made excuses for it. It was okay. It don't matter. We'll just overlook it. This drug is so powerful, we don't want to let it go. We don't even care what they teach, right? I'm telling you, there is a similarity. So once you see Major Applewhite, eyes bulging out of his head, going out of his mind, teaching craziness, end result, a mass suicide. And then you have Stephen Lett, one of the leadership of Jehovah's Witnesses, eyes bulging out of his head, just like Major Applewhite, teaching craziness. Everybody makes excuses. The guy could have lost his marbles long ago. Who knows? No one's going to do anything about it. No one's going to call the authority and say, this guy's nuts. Let's stop the train before it goes off the rails. Do you see how easy it is? So they went from one crazy teaching to another with Heaven's Gate and went from the castration to the, oh, I see a comet coming. That comet, to somebody who's not all there, was another event that pushed them over the edge. Oh, there's a space shuttle behind that comet. It's not far-fetched at all for somebody that's not all there to think that. And that other event, that comet, everybody's watching for this comet. And Heaven's Gate, just like Jehovah's Witnesses, looking at world events, constantly looking for the event that they want to happen. And they're watching current events, trying to find something that's going to lead to that conclusion, just like Jehovah's Witnesses. And they find an event. They find a world event that in their minds adds up to what's in their teaching. that pushes him off the edge. He decides he's going to commit suicide. I'm kidding you not, there's the video on HBO Max where he is literally on recording saying he does not want to be here anymore. He is ready to go. He's ready to leave this place. He don't want to be on this planet anymore. He could not have said it any better. And he did it on video. He could not have stated he was going to kill himself any more than what he did. Just black and white, flat out. I don't think I had seen that clipping until HBO Max collected all these things together and made that documentary. But yeah, it's right there in black and white. The dude, hey, I don't want to be here anymore. I'm ready to go. It makes sense. The guy had lost his marbles back when his partner died. Back when the female member that he was close to died, he lost it then. And he's at the point now where nobody's getting him help. He just don't even want to be here anymore. So he plans to kill himself, and everybody else joins in on the teaching. Hey, we're going to kill ourselves, and somehow magically that's going to wind up us on this flying saucer behind the freaking comet. Like, this is not far-fetched from Jehovah's Witnesses. Jehovah's Witnesses would believe anything. Right? Their religion is not based off of extraterrestrials. Their religion is based off just the same level of insanity, where they are the one true religion, and the broad and spacious path means that everybody that has a religion with a lot of people in it, they're wrong. The narrow and cramped road means anybody that they hardly have anybody in their religion because the religion sounds crazy. That means their religion is right. Like, when you just listen to the teachings. They all are just totally insane. They take things from the Bible, right? This is what cults do, because they take things from the Bible and they just go as far right with it or as far left with it as humanly possible. These Jehovah's Witnesses will go around everybody's blocks, knocking on everybody's door, and talk to 3 people and think that they have accomplished a world global preaching education work after talking to 3 people. Like, the insanity levels are the same. So once Jehovah's Witnesses started carrying, what was it, those to-go bags, where they were ready for the end of the world, they had these little bags with, I don't know, sandwiches and Capri Suns in it or whatever the heck they had in it. That was a level of insanity where people need to say, stop the train. It's going off the rails. Y'all are packing for the end of the world. Y'all are packing for the great tribulation. That's too far, right? It should have been stopped then. Now, more than any other time, we need to get our relatives out of there. We need to work towards getting our relatives out of there, right? I'm not going to just sit here and just watch while a train goes off the rails with my relatives on the train. I'm not going to just sit there and wait for it to happen. When I see the similarities, Jim Jones says drink the Kool-Aid, people drink it. Marshall Applewhite says eat the poison applesauce, people ate it. Stephen Lett, if he were to say to eat the poison Cheerios, people would eat it. Like, there's no difference at all. Comment down below, let me know what you think. But that's one of the reasons why I'm upping my efforts to get my relatives and help people get their relatives out of the cult of Jehovah's Witnesses before it just mimics what all these other cults do. The FLDS, all these other the cults, they end up doing crazy things, right? Because there's such a big difference between a cult and a church. Comment down below. Let me know what you think. X Wall Kill Bethelite signing out.